Hey everyone, welcome back to Light Shine Desserts, where you can get your daily dose of baking, the Word of God, decorating, and much, much more. So as you can tell by the title, today we're just going to be doing a week in my life. I baked a couple of things just to bake or for people at school or, just to bake. So first we are starting off with these blondies. So I'm trying to find a blondie recipe to stick with because I've had one in the past that I've used, but it's kind of it could be better just because of the size, because it's a really thin type of blondie. It tastes good, but it's thin. And I think it uses a little bit too much vanilla and a little bit too much sugar, so it's really sweet, and you can get an aftertaste of the vanilla. So with this one, this was another recipe that I found. I was trying it for the last time because the last time I made it, it didn't really come out correctly, as you can see here. And I made some Red Lobster Cheddar Bay biscuits at school, and this is what they look like. They were really good, but I think they could have been baked just a little bit longer. So now we're trying another blondie recipe because, again, that other one, it had more of a cake texture. It was good, but it could be better texture-wise. So this is another one that I tried. For some reason, I don't know why these things happen with blondies. Whenever I seem to make blondies now, it just always seems to be a struggle. But this one, I tried to be really careful, not over mixing, but try not to undermix. I did add some caramel, but didn't want to waste the sprinkles. But when I was cutting into it, I could see that it was underbaked. So I had to put it back in the oven, and that kind of did something, but these just didn't really work out. It was still kind of underbaked, and I didn't want to have to go through putting it in the oven again, and the taste wasn't really for me, so I might not have blondies in my business as for right now. So the next thing that we are going to be making is some cinnamon rolls. So basically at school, for culinary, that's where I do a bunch of baking and cooking at school. We made cinnamon biscuits, which are a little bit different. You don't have to wait for it to rest or anything. That's why it's called cinnamon biscuits. Basically, with my old group, we made it, but we didn't really have time. We were kind of struggling with the time, so it kind of still seemed underbaked to me, and I didn't really even want to try it, even though I love cinnamon rolls. So I decided, okay, I'm going to make some cinnamon rolls, like actual rolls at home, and then also bring it to school. So for this one, I did a little bit differently. I tried to make these as small as I could because I did notice that whenever I made it before, they would rise a lot and they would just be super big. So I didn't want them to be too big. But they were still big overall in the end for some of them. But the thing is, I separated them so they weren't super close to each other. And the texture was kind of different. It was like an actual roll. But usually when I make it, it has kind of like a bread texture for the ones that are touching each other. Because usually you're supposed to put it close, but not super close, so then it could still rise. But in the end, it will bake. They will start touching each other. Then you just have to cut it open to take a cinnamon roll out, and it will have this nice bready cinnamon roll texture. But anyways, we are making omelets, since another thing that I made at school, this isn't baking, but I really wanted to try doing it again. For me, I still cooked it till it was a little bit brown because at least I know it's cooked. But back to the cinnamon rolls, they kind of rose a little bit. This was like the day after, because I wanted to make them in the morning so they could be fresh, and that's what it looked like in the end. They still tasted good, but I might just keep doing it the old way that I do. So next, we are going to be making some yummy tie-dye vanilla sugar cookies. So in a lot of my other videos or shorts, you've seen me make decorated sugar cookies. With these cookies, I wanted to also have in my business cookies that you could eat frosted or not, and these ones would be the typical soft sugar cookies that you might get at the store that aren't usually crunchy or hard, or just more sturdier. So I did want to make them tie-dye just to make them pop, because I was going to give these to people at my school once again. And I also was going to be making another flavor, so I wanted to make sure there was a variety of flavor and then still make it look beautiful. So I was going to mix these in sprinkles, but I was like, let me add some color just to make it look cool, I guess. These are some that I ate at home. I didn't cook them all the way. I just really want to eat them. So next time, just gotta make sure that I cook them all or bake them all the way through, so then you don't get sick from that. But anyways, next thing we're making is double chocolate chip cookies. These are the other things I was going to bring. I wanted to have like a deep chocolate flavor thing, and then also a nice subtle vanilla or whatever other flavor thing, so then it's like a little bit of a difference instead of just bringing one or the other. So with these, for my 1 cup, it didn't really measure out like how it is in the recipe. For my 1 cup measuring cup that I had used for the brown sugar, it's supposed to equal 200 grams in the recipe, but that wasn't even all the way to the top of my 1 cup. It was maybe like 3/4 cup. That's what 200 grams would be. So I was like, interesting. And I think because I didn't fill it all the way, it wasn't as sweet because, again, I was trying to do it with the grams and things. And if I had measured it all the way, it would have been more than 200 grams. So next time if I use that same 1 cup, I probably will just fill it all the way so then it's still sweet enough. Because for these, I think they could have been sweeter, but like it had a deep chocolate flavor. And when my brother tried it, he actually liked these. Like typically he doesn't like chocolate based things besides cake. He only likes like chocolate chip cookies where it's just the chocolate and the little chips that you have with it. But anyways, for the last thing that we are going to make, I'm making a lemon pie. So basically I had some extras of some things like sweetened condensed milk that I wanted to use up. I was going to do a graham cracker crust, but those were expired. So I used ice cream cones. And I did want to do a lime pie, but we didn't have enough lime juice. Besides the point, so I made it. It did taste pretty good, but it didn't set correctly, so it wouldn't even come out of the pan. I don't know. I didn't use an actual pie pan. But overall, those are all the things that I made this week. Hope you guys all enjoyed. If you have any questions, tips, or things you want me to bake in the future, feel free to comment down below and have a blessed week. Bye, and see you next week by God's grace.